I was only 7 years old at this stage, and it was a hot summer's afternoon. My dad had just finished mowing the lawn, and my brother and I were playing outside in the backyard. I'm not sure why, but I was around the back of the shed looking for something, when to my horror, I was faced with an eastern brown snake. These snakes are one of the most venomous snakes in the country, and it had just come out of some long grass that grew by the creek bed. I was frozen. I knew if I was to run, it would chase me, so I stayed still. It just sat there and didn't move either. After an agonizing minute or so, it started to slither away, slowly, back into the grass. Then once it was out of sight, I ran for my life back to the backyard. I'm not sure if it chased me or not, but if it did, it never caught up to me. I told my dad what I had just saw, and my dad then told my brother and I to go inside. My dad went and looked for the snake, but he couldn't find it. One day, while I was around 8 or 9 years old, I went for a walk up the paddock to the fence line and back. At this spot I would walk to was a group of trees that had massive vines growing under the foliage of the trees. It actually made a cool tree house that me, my brother and sister, cousins and friends would come and play in. It was a lovely spot. On this particular day though, the grass was a little bit overgrown, and it was a warm day, so that combination wasn't always a good one. I walked to the end of the fence line, where our tree house was, and then I walked down towards the creek. I jumped in horror to see a Redbelly Black snake moving through the grass. I got freaked out and started running back towards home, while watching the ground in case I came across another. It didn't chase me, thank goodness. Redbelly black snakes aren't as venomous as other species, like an eastern brown snake for example, and they're not as aggressive. They will make you sick from a bite though. Left untreated, can be very fatal. Now fast forwarding to when I had my license, me and some friends had gone to one of our chosen swimming holes called Slippery Rock. We decided to go for a drive further up the road to the next place called Kapara. As we were driving along the dirt road, we came across this massive king brown snake, and it was standing up. It was a standoff between it and my car. The snake didn't look or seem very happy. I had stopped because I was in awe of the size and the colour of this thing, but it was behaving very aggressively. I didn't want to run over it though. I was giving it a chance to slither off into the bush, but it didn't want to. Instead, it slithered closer to the front of my car, and then it launched itself onto the bonnet and windscreen. Holy crap! I hope all of your windows are up, guys. I started driving fast down the road so the snake would fall off the front of the car, which it did. Thank goodness for that. We hightailed out of there and drove back home. This encounter happened while I was living with my partner at the time in the suburbs down south. It was a nice warm spring day, and I had gone out into the backyard to hang out some washing, when I seen a red-belly black snake slithering through the grass and down the drain. It was only a small one, but that can only mean one thing. There was a bigger one somewhere else close by. I ran back inside, closed the doors, and I decided to call someone to come and collect the snake. A National Parks and Wildlife person came and took the snake. Not only that, he managed to find the much bigger snake as well. It was just underneath the back of the house. Snakes could be anywhere, especially on a warm day, because they'll be out and about sunbaking. When you see a small snake, you will know the mother snake or father snake will be close by, so watch your step. This encounter happened when I was living back at home for the second time, and I was living in my own room out in the back shed, so I had my own privacy. I hadn't lived at home for long at this point, and I was just outside having a cigarette when I noticed something moving in the grass by the bush line. It looked massive, very long, and very yellow. It was a massive snake, and I freaked out. I quickly went back inside my room for a minute, and then I went into the shed and told my dad. My dad started laughing. What was he laughing for? That's my pet diamond python, son. Your pet? Well, no. She turned up here one day, and she just roams around the place. She goes into the shed and eats the rats. Oh, okay. So it's not venomous then? No, it's a python. Their bite hurts though, but not poisonous. Just let her do her thing, and you won't have any issues with her. Also, her presence will keep the bad snakes away too. I felt somewhat relieved, and I got used to seeing the python around at home. She was a very pretty snake, just very intimidating from her size.